Hi everybody, it's Crystal. Welcome to my channel. So today I have a stitch tutorial for you, and it's extremely easy, and it's actually a very pretty stitch. I like it a lot. It's a very common stitch actually. This is the cluster V stitch. Isn't that pretty? I think it's so pretty. And it's just like one of those simple stitches, you know. It's just so simple, but yet beautiful. Beautiful. I really like to incorporate it into designs that I use. It's just so, I don't know. Even on its own, look at it. I think it's just so elegant looking. Make a top out of it, a blanket out of it. Anything for nice little pretty. You wouldn't even need a border if you put a blanket on it. Maybe a single crochet border around it. Or if you made a blanket, make a scarf. Anything you wanted to make. It's a semi see-through stitch, but I would make a top out of it, you know, and probably just wear. If I made a summer top, I'd probably just wear a tank under it. Or if I made a winter top, I always wear t-shirts under them anyway, so that wouldn't matter. And it does look the same on both sides. And it is just a one row repeat. It just keeps getting better and better and better. So, do you guys want to learn this gorgeous? It's a pretty basic stitch, but yeah, it is very simple. Very beautiful. All right, let's do it. So I'm going to set this to the side. So the yarn that I use here is just some scrap yarn. Some 4-weight scrap yarn that I have here. You can use any yarn that you want and any hook size that you want to correspond with the yarn, depending on what you are making. But this is a 4-weight yarn, and I'm using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. All right, shall we begin? Okay, so this cluster V stitch here is done in a straight multiple of 3, which means that you just need to chain in 3s, 3 until you get your chain the size that you want your project to be. So if you're making a blanket, you chain for however many inches you want your blanket to be in 3s. There's no extra chains needed, just in 3s. A scarf, you chain however long you want your scarf to be in 3s. A top, whatever you're making. It's just done in 3s. All right, so we'll go ahead and start row 1. We are going to do a single crochet in the second stitch from our hook. So remember, we do not count this one that's on our hook. So this would be number 1, and right here would be number 2. We're going to go ahead and do a single crochet into that. And then what we're going to do is work 1 single crochet into every stitch of our chain. Just like this. So row 1 is 1 single crochet in every stitch until we get to the end of our row. All right, so I made it to the end of row 1. Now let's go ahead and start row 2. So we're going to start row 2 by chaining 1 and turning our work. So that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So we're going to go back into this very first stitch right here, and we're going to work a double crochet right through that first stitch. And now we're going to just skip 1 stitch, and we're going to work into the next. And the next one is where we're going to work our cluster V stitch. So this is how it's done. So remember, we're only skipping 1 right here. Going into the next, we're going to yarn over. We're going to go into the stitch and draw up a loop. You got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through the first 2. Then we're going to yarn over again and go into the same stitch and draw up another loop. You got 4 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through the first 2. And now you have 3 loops that remain. Yarn over and go through all 3. So that is 1 cluster of the V. So now we're going to chain 1. And we're going to go back into the same stitch and do that same thing again. So we're going to yarn over and go into that same stitch and draw up a loop. You got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through the first 2. Then we're going to yarn over and go to that same stitch again, draw up a loop, got 4 loops there, yarn over and go through the first 2, 3 loops that remain, yarn over and go through the remaining 3. Don't chain 1, but that is the cluster V. Isn't that, it's easy, isn't it? Okay, so now we're going to start the repeat of row 2. So now we have to skip 2 stitches in between, all right? So skip, skip. This first one right here, we only skipped 1, but now we have to skip 2. So skip, skip, and the next one we're going to do our cluster V stitch again. So skip, skip, next one, I yarned over and I'm going to go into the stitch and draw up a loop, and I'm going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over again and go through the same stitch and draw up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on my hook, and I'll have 3 that remain. I'm going to yarn over and go through all 3. And then I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to do the same thing into the same stitch. I'm going to yarn over and go into that same stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Yarn over again and go into the same stitch. Draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. 3 loops remain. Yarn over and go through all 3. Don't chain 1 after that one though. And there you completed another cluster V. Again, we're going to skip 2 stitches. So skip, skip, and in the next one, we cluster V again. So yarn over, go into it and draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Yarn over, go back into the same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and go through the remaining 3. There's your cluster, and then we're going to chain 1 after that one, and we're going to go back into the same spot and do it again. Just like that. Isn't that easy? Again, you skip 2, skip, skip. In the next, cluster V again. And this works up really fast too. It's a fast stitch. So once you get it down, you'll be whipping up all kinds of pretty things. Just like that. So I'm going to repeat this pattern of skipping 2 and doing my cluster V into the next. Skipping 2 and cluster V into the next until I have 2 stitches that remain. And that's where I'll meet back up with you. Alright, so I'm coming to the end. I just did my cluster V, and now remember we don't chain 1 after that one. And I have 2 stitches left. So here at the end, we just skip 1. And then we're going to put a double crochet into the very last stitch. So we skip this one and double crochet into the very last stitch. So now the end matches the beginning. Because the beginning we put 1 double crochet and skipped 1. Now we have skipped 1 and put 1 double crochet. All right, so now we're going to start row 3. Row 3 is the repeat row for the whole pattern. Very easy. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So we're going to start off by putting a double crochet right here into the very first stitch. Like that. And now we're going to be working all the way across into these chain 1 spaces. That's where we're going to put our cluster V's, into the chain 1 spaces of the previous cluster V stitches. So we're just going to jump right over here to this chain 1 space, and we're going to work a cluster V right into the space. The same way we did it before. Chain 1, go back into the same space. Just like that. Don't chain one after this one though. Jump over to the next chain one space and do the cluster V again right into the space. Chain one. Just like that. There's another. Remember, don't chain one after that one. We jump to the next chain one space and do it again. So this is what we're going to repeat until we get to the end of our row. Just doing a cluster V stitch in the chain space of the previous cluster V stitch. Just like that. It's so pretty. All right, I'll see you at the end. All right, so I've made it here to the end, and I just did my last cluster V in the chain space of my cluster V from the previous row. And what I'm going to do is end by double crocheting into the last stitch, the double crochet from the previous row. So I'm going to double crochet right into the top of it, and that finishes out row 3, and that is the repeat row for the whole stitch. So we're just going to do it again. We would just do it again. Chain 1, turn, double crochet right back into that very first stitch. Like that. Sorry, my yarn got tangled. And work a cluster V in the chain 1 space of every cluster V from the previous row. So they always stay lined up. It's such a quick and easy, beautiful stitch. You won't be disappointed doing this. Remember, don't chain one after that. Just jump right over here to the next chain 1 space. And do it again. Just like that. So you just keep repeating row 3. Just like that. And you see your clusters always stay lined up. And after a while, you keep repeating, you end up with something like this. Very, very pretty. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And you see your clusters are all lined up. Looking beautiful. Now, if you make something out of this stitch, you come show me on my Facebook page. I really love to see it. Come check me out over there. And also, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's free to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. I have, oh man, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, beyond hundreds of free crochet tutorials. I have anything that you could ever want to make, and multiples of them. So, please hit that. It would really help me out. Hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And then you can, you have access to all the tutorials in the world. It's free. And all my videos are free. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, take care. Bye guys.